Hello people, my name is Elle. Welcome back. This is gonna be a little bit different video. As you probably know, or read about our school before. I think I want to sit here. Yeah, as you probably know, in our school, when you finish year 1, you are moving out of Skutels. So you get 1 grade as 1 EC for the first year for living there. Then it's up to you to find your own apartment basically. And that's what the video is going to be about, is my journey of finding an apartment to stay in Amsterdam. Because you know that I've decided to stay on internship in my own hotel. And so in Hilton Schiphol, I'm still there. I'm training for a supervisor. I'm super happy. Really couldn't be happy. I really missed working during the days. Yeah, I wanted to just share some tips and tricks of finding an apartment in Amsterdam, because that's not an easy thing to do. And let me tell you why. Well, as you might know, the Amsterdam is quite overcrowded. And when I say overcrowded, many people from year 2 and 3 already kind of warn me about, hey, have you started looking for apartments yet? Let me explain you what my situation looked like, because I knew that we were gonna move out from Skutel eventually, that I'm gonna stay in Amsterdam for like consecutive 3 years probably, where I'll need to leave. So yeah, first of all, I'm 23 years old as of yesterday, and I've never lived alone. I've never paid rent. I have no idea how to search for apartments. I'm in another city, in another country. I'm an international student. I am quite stressed by the fact that by year 2 I'll need to find somewhere to live. In my family, me and my father saved up quite a decent amount of money, considering the fact that I'll need to pay my own rent for 3 years. Like, that was what we've decided on early on, like 4 years before I even started this school, when I started saving for the school. And we were expecting me to get a job by year 2. Well, I already got the job in June of my first year, so it was like 3 months only after starting the school. So I was able to save up money from that as well. And also I get scholarship from the Swedish government. That's around 300 euros because I'm studying full-time abroad. And yeah, all of that combined, I would say like I wasn't bad with the budget, but I didn't really look into prices, you know, while saving up those monies throughout the years. And what happened then, the 2nd and 3rd year students who I met in school were like, yes, so we approximately pay around 750, 800, some pay 900. I know people who pay over 1,000, people who couldn't find anything and are staying now 1 year already in student hotel. I don't know if you've heard about that Dutch company. It's like, yeah, basically a hotel open for students for like long-term rentals. It's very close by school, 7 minutes bike, I would say. People, yeah, who couldn't find anywhere to live, especially like I'm not talking now international students, because yeah, for Dutch people it's a little bit easier, like you can even travel from The Hague for like 1 hour when you're here, but for international students it's very challenging. I feel like nobody talks about it, so I really wanted to share in this video how I solved the issue. I'm obviously in my own apartment. I'll introduce it to you a little bit later. I didn't know it would be that challenging, but with the overcrowded Amsterdam and kind of low budget as a student, you can't expect, you know, pay less than 750 per person here. And I'm not talking about getting your own studio, because that's very hard. It's very expensive and you need to have a huge ton of luck to get a nice place, and I feel like that's really what helped us. So yeah, let me think about some information that I think is handy to know before you start searching for anything. My first tip ever would be start early on. Please don't wait until 1 week left of my internship and then hope that eventually you will be just able to go on one viewing and then get a place. That's not how it works. Second of all, I would also consider, if you want to live alone, to also start searching for the student apartments, like student studios. There is a really nice company called Student Experience. I'll drop a link down below. That's a lottery basically, where you can, without any extra charges, apply for getting a studio in one of the locations that they have in Amsterdam, and they have quite a few. And that was actually the studio where I recorded first Q&A on my YouTube channel. I was taking that from a friend. But yeah, that one would cost you around 680, 690 if I'm not mistaken now per month. There are some more expensive locations, but they're a little bit, you know, on the corners of the Amsterdam, we can put it that way. Third thing, I would say, make sure you know how much money you have, because there are huge requirements on people who want to rent in Amsterdam, especially because it's the really limited amount of apartments that are being rented, and there are a bunch of complications surrounding that. First of all, most of the places or companies, especially the real estate companies, do not give apartments to students. And I'm not even talking about only for one person. One person is extremely hard to find anything in Amsterdam, so I would say just mentally prepare yourself that you probably will need to share with somebody. It's much bigger of a chance for you to find something like a room and not an entire apartment. Then I think you can get the cost down and find a place quite easily. But yeah, for us, I wanted to share with at least people I know. I knew for sure that it's not gonna be enough for me to just finding one room, just because I'm a person who really likes to cook and I need my own kitchen, and I only can eat specific types of foods. I want to be able to cook when I need it and store it somewhere where nobody can take it, and also like be confident that yeah, I can go around naked without people being bothered. So we are two international students. One girl from the previous August who is now doing her MO. Her name is Jenya. I'll drop her Instagram down below. And she's from Ukraine. And another girl from my intake. You've probably seen her in some of my videos. Laura, Ryan, shout out to the legend. So we three decided quite early on that we wanted to search for a place. But Jenya was on her internship in Dubai, and me and Laura knew that we were staying to work with direct competitors here in Schiphol. So it was like, yeah, how cool to like live together. And then Jenya felt comfortable sharing with somebody as well. So, and she couldn't do it because yeah, what can you do from being that far away? And so like we divided a little bit. Like Jenya was monitoring the Facebook groups, apartment groups. There are quite a few on Facebook actually, so that would be one of my tips. Search for those apartment groups, because even though like many people reply in the comments under each publication there, because there are a lot of students looking for apartments, and I was more responsible for searching on pages like Funda. That's where the real estate agents can post different apartments for sale and rent. I would also recommend a homepage that our school works with. There is a direct link to Housing Anywhere, which is like not as broad here, but there's still cheap, nice, confident alternatives for accommodation in Amsterdam. So our situation was that we needed an apartment with at least 3 rooms, and the only condition that we put on ourselves that we wanted to be close to school. So we were just trying to search around that area. And then we didn't specify much. We were like, the balcony would be nice, but yeah, it doesn't really matter as far as we have our own spaces, you know? And we started with that in like November, knowing that Jenya will be back by February, and that's when we are starting our internship. And let me tell you, it's been a chaos. I've been so stressed for the 2 months, like for that apartment hunting. I had PE, I knew what I wanted, and there are a lot of opportunities, but there are always 3 rejection emails that we would get, or like even worse, like we would get ignored on most of the applications that we sent. That was very disappointing, because we don't rent to students was one of the reasons for not giving us even a chance. Second of all, many real estate agents require an income of like triple the rent, even though the rent could be like at the minimum of like 1,900 for an unfurnished 2-room studio. That's like low, but like triple that, you need to have an income of your household over 6,000 euros.
Who on earth owns that much money? I just
don't know how this country made this reasonable. We just get rejected just because they know for sure that we can't have an income like that, and that's very fair because I can't. I study full-time. Third of all, there is also a new rule in Amsterdam that you're not allowed to register 3 people for 1 apartment. So you basically need to be a family who is gonna move in. So many places in their apartment description would just write not for sharing. And most of the places, you know, I thought I would spend 1 day a week searching for apartments. I was like, let me dedicate myself. I'm gonna sit during 1 day and actually look for apartments. Then the next week I'm gonna review the answers and then move on from there. Well, who knew I would spend 2 months every day monitoring those pages for anything new that popped up. We would send an interest request, as we call them. My greatest tip is read and write a small nice summary of like who you are. Don't mention that you're students. Mention your age, because for us I feel like the defining point was that me and Laura were a little bit older than the regular students nowadays. We were really like trying to make it look like we're not students, to not be fucked on that part. And there like I could see that some places still required proof of income. With that I think I got like 4 or 5 responses maximum. On Facebook there wasn't much happening at all, and yeah, for the most time you just did ignore it. For some places I sent it twice because we didn't get any replies, and I would say like 10% of the places even, you know, sent us something back. For the most time we would just ignore it. Then we started calling to see what's going on. Some of them were like, yeah, but you're students, so no. Towards the New Year's, we literally had nothing. And I remember getting an SMS from one guy on Facebook page who had an apartment in North, which is like really far away from our school, but I was like, okay, let me at least have a look. But then, guys, the most important part of this video, there are so many scammers out in this world. Please don't trust and transfer money for anything until you get the keys. It is so common here to get into trouble while finding the apartment. Please be careful while searching. Make sure you do it through a proper real estate agent, or if you're doing it from a private landlord, just make sure that you check the person and that the person has the rights for basically giving you the apartment. Yeah, and when you've checked everything, have your documents prepared. Because this year we were 3 international students, and with the apartment that we signed, I really got the call a few days before New Year's from the biggest apartment we applied to that was like 130 square meters on the 11th floor, 10 minutes biking from school. And you know, throughout those months we just started to look anywhere, like in Almere was fine, Hofdorp, South, whatever just can get us to school in like, you know, half an hour, and we can get to the internship easily.
I noticed the longer I'm single, the lower my standards get. I was really picky in the beginning. I'm like, she gotta look like this, she gotta have this. Now I'm like, who needs teeth?
But I got the call, I was screaming. There was that week when I worked double shifts for the entire week in school, and I saw an email back about, yes, so you are considered one of the 2 parties who were planning on renting the apartment to. And I realized that was the apartment that we all were the most excited about. And you know, throughout so many stressful weeks of not having any response and not moving anywhere, and just get a response from that apartment, and I was like, oh my god, this is meant to be. But we also tried to drag out the conversation with the gentleman from the apartment in North, because I went on a viewing, but like, you don't know if it's a scam or not. Like, it's very hard with those private people to make sure that it's a real thing. And yeah, during those times I think Laura went on like 3-4 viewings, including this apartment. I remember her texting in the group being like, I feel rich when I'm walking here. And the apartment looked like a penthouse. It still does. I'm gonna put now in a few videos in here to show you what it looks like, because we haven't furnished it much. Like, most of it was already here. We just got a table, we still don't have chairs, we got a washing machine ourselves, the internet took 2 months to fix, but we got that crazy beautiful place just because I think we were lucky. I can't explain it the other way. With so many stressful days worrying about not having anywhere to live, we are now living so close to school with a beautiful view of Amsterdam. The sunsets here are just amazing. But yeah, aside from that, summarize my tips. Make a nice summary, like an introduction email. Don't make it too long. Make sure to stick to the point of like how the real estate agent are gonna perceive you from reading that small text. Make sure that you sound confident, mature, reassuring. Yeah, copy paste that to any apartment that looks nice. Make sure to prepare your documents on time, the passports, the statements of income. With us, both me and Laura worked during the first year a lot. So we had like steady income throughout the year, and Jenya was on internship, but she also worked during the first year. So like, make sure if you're gonna share with somebody that those people have some kind of income, because you can't send, you know, yeah, my father owns this much money, so I'm a reliable person. I would choose people if you're gonna share with somebody, to have somebody who works and have a contract, because you will need to send that. You will need to have the proofs of income for the past 3 months at least. And for those who are curious now, I'm paying for this place 812 per month. We have 3 different sized rooms, so Jenya is paying a little bit more, but she also has a double bed in her room. Yeah, and just start early on, search in different places, call, don't lose hope. I think it's definitely not impossible, but you gotta play it smart. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I will be happy to answer those. I wish you good luck if you're trying to search for a place right now. And if I can help you with anything, maybe you would be interested in seeing what we wrote in our small text, or like pages that you could have a look at. By the way, funny story, like at some point we were so hopeless, we were like, yeah, just let's get an apartment with 2 bedrooms and just renovate the living room for another bedroom, so we only have bedrooms in the house without any sofas or anything. There's so little apartments that match the requirements for like 3 people, or like where people in the description of the advertisement weren't promoting, you know, no students, income of triple the rent and all of that stuff. It's really hard. Yeah, we really tried everything we could to, you know, make it work. I'm really happy to be living here. We talk about it all the time that we are luckiest people on the planet to be living with each other. It's really nice, but also just the place itself, the 11th floor, the view, the big windows. Dream world. So yeah, drop your comments in here. I hope to see you next time. Let me know what type of video you would like to see next, and I'll see you later.